Okay. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well on this Friday morning. I'm Claudius, Head of Technical at Accentronix. Can someone just in the chat let me know, is the audio clear? Can everyone hear? Okay, thanks. Okay, so thank you guys for joining us today for the Accentronix product introduction. A few things before we get started. Because of the nature of this meeting and the amount of people in this meeting, all mics are muted. We are also recording the session, so all cameras are disabled as well. Okay, that's just to protect your privacy. So if during the session you have any questions, please type them in the chat box, and then afterwards we can go through all the questions, and if something's unclear, we can resolve it. Okay. So today we're going to talk about the Accentronix access control system for security estates that we develop and manufacture ourselves in South Africa. We are doing a product overview, as well as later on we will have a live demo of a device in action, as well as covering programming of all devices. We, Accentronix, has been in this business for 17 years. And we currently have more than 500,000 people using our system for access control at security estates. Okay, so let's get started. A lot to cover. We are going to start by going over the feature of the system. The system is installed directly in your gate motor. Control your gate with your mobile phone by giving the system a missed call or using the Accentronix Smart Home app. You can manage users, remotes, and tags from the cloud. All of our devices have visitor one-time PIN functionality. You can bulk learn remotes and tags. It's very easy to use, and with all our systems, you have advanced access control logs. Okay, just a general overview of all the devices. We're going to start with the Cell Switch Infinity, as well as the Cell Switch Nano. The Cell Switch Infinity and the Cell Switch Nano get installed directly in your gate motor. The Cell Switch Infinity allows you to manage up to 10,000 residents, remotes, and tags. And with the Cell Switch Nano, you can manage 10 residents, remotes, and tags. Both these units have visitor one-time PIN functionality, and you can also give them a missed call or use the Accentronix Smart Home app. Few specs about these devices. With the Cell Switch Infinity, you get a dual SIM card. And with the Cell Switch Nano, you get a single SIM card. With the Cell Switch Infinity, you get 2 outputs, as well as 4 inputs. And with the Cell Switch Nano, you have 2 outputs and 2 inputs. The Cell Switch Infinity comes with an external antenna, and the Cell Switch Nano has an integrated antenna. And then both these units works with 12 to 24 volt DC. Okay. We will later have a live demonstration of registering a cell switch, and then you guys can see how easy it is to program, as well as how to register that device itself. Okay, moving on to the intercom system. Our intercom range works exactly the same as our Cell Switch Infinity. The one major difference is that you can call from the intercom, so it has voice functionality. The intercom calls directly to the resident's cell phone, and then from there, they can open the gate. The intercom is also used to manage 10,000 users, remotes, and tags. And they have 3 outputs, 2 inputs, and they also run from 12 to 24 volt DC. The intercom also has the one-time PIN functionality. And what goes with the system, you can actually use that one-time PIN directly onto the keypad. So you don't need to install an extra keypad to use that PIN. It can be used directly on the intercom itself. Okay, so currently there are 4 models: the Intercom Complex, the Intercom 2 button, the Intercom Mini, and the Intercom Index. All these models are built from marine-grade stainless steel, and that's to withstand the harsh conditions we experience here in Cape Town next to the sea. Our Intercom Mini, the Intercom Complex, the Intercom Index is exactly the same when it comes to functionality. Only difference is actual physical size of the unit. Whereas with our Intercom 2 button, has the same functionality. Only difference is you can only call 2 people from the unit, but you can still manage 10,000 access control units. So, okay, now I'm just going to show you quickly a wiring diagram of a cell switch Infinity and a cell switch Nano, just how easy it is to install. Okay, so you'll see that basically it's your 12 volt, 0 volt, and then your trigger going to your trigger of the gate motor itself. So very easy to install. You'll see as well on the left side, there's a receiver connected to that cell switch. We'll get into it in a moment. Okay, so add-on products with our system. The following products connect directly to our cell switch and intercom devices, and then they provide the following functionality. Your ET-Nice RX micro receiver. This is a special receiver that ET manufactures for Accentronix that allows you to manage your remote on our systems from the cloud. Okay. The wireless O2 active keypad. Now, this keypad allows one-time PIN functionality, and you connect it through the Accentronix micro receiver to either your cell switch Infinity or your cell switch Nano. So that enables the one-time PIN functionality on those devices. Whereas your intercom system, all of them have a built-in ET receiver. So no need to connect one. All the intercom system already has a built-in one, so you can just basically connect your wireless keypad directly to your intercom. Okay, then we've got the wired keypad. Works exactly the same as the wireless. Few key differences. Obviously, it's wired. It's got a maximum length of 100 meters. And it also has a backlight. So it's perfect for dark spaces. Okay, then our Accentronix MyFair 13.56 megahertz tag system works exactly as our remotes. You can then manage your tags online with our remotes, as well as our tags. You can restrict access of users to certain dates, times, and also certain devices only. Okay, we'll also cover a bit more of this in the live demo. A few things about the remote. With our system, you can easily pre-register remotes from off-site. We'll also cover this in the live demo. And then later on, once you have pre-registered that remote, you can then assign it to a resident. You can also restrict access to specific days and times for specific users with your remotes. To give you an example of this, if you've got domestic or gardening services, you can give them a remote and you can set that remote to say work only on Mondays or Wednesdays or whenever. If someone loses a remote, it's also very easy to just log onto the system and then just to remove that remote. All the remotes also has a detailed log report with timestamps. And then there's also notifications through the app that you can enable if someone uses a remote. Like I said, if you want to use a remote on our system, simply connect a RX micro receiver to our cell switch Infinity and our cell switch Nano. Our intercom systems already has a built-in receiver. Okay, moving on to the tags. With our system, you can link multiple tag readers over the cloud. We'll have an example of this in a moment. The tags and the remotes work exactly the same on the same principle where a tag is assigned to a user. And then you can also restrict that user to specific readers only. And all the tags has a detailed log report. Okay, a bit more about the visitor one-time PIN functionalities. With the one-time PIN functionality, residents can use the Accentronix Smart Home app to invite visitors. The visitor will receive a WhatsApp or a SMS containing a one-time PIN, as well as a Google Maps link and instructions on how to use that PIN. As soon as the visitor uses the PIN, the resident will also then receive a notification saying that PIN has been used. Visitors can then be restricted to one entry and one exit, or they can have whole day access. Okay, then our intercom systems. We have the functionality, the visitor exit one-time PIN. Basically how this works is when a visitor calls a tenant from the intercom itself, the tenant opens the gate by pressing 1 on their cell phone. The tenant themselves will then receive a one-time PIN that they can give to the delivery guy or their visitor. On the way out, that visitor can then use that one-time PIN on the keypad, and then the tenant will receive a notification saying that PIN has been used. Okay, so this is only available on the intercom system with voice. Okay, so just an example of your typical security estate. So at your entrance gate, you've got a intercom system installed. Oh, sorry, at your entrance gate. At your exit gate, you have a cell switch Infinity installed, and you'll see that it is connected with an RX micro receiver. At your pedestrian gate, you've got a Nano connected with 2 tag readers. And at your swimming pool, you have a tag reader that has restricted access from 9 AM till 8 PM. So the tenants themselves can gain entry by using the remote on the intercom system, as well as on the cell switch. Visitors can then use the intercom directly to gain entry for PINs. And then on their way out, they will use a wireless keypad that's connected to the cell switch Infinity. Okay, residents can also use the Accentronix Smart Home app to gain access, or they can simply call the unit to gain access. They can then also use their tag system on the pedestrian gate, and they have restricted access only from 9 AM till 8 PM with that tag on the swimming pool. So you'll see on top that all these devices link over the cloud. So basically this means your intercom system will be your master device, and all other devices linked to it will be a slave device. Meaning if you load someone on the intercom system, it will take effect on all other devices linked to it. Also cover that in a bit more details on in the live demonstration. Okay, just an example of the Accentronix Smart Home app. As soon as a user is added to the system, they will receive a free welcome SMS that will contain instructions on how to use the system, as well as a link how and where to install the Accentronix Smart Home app. As soon as the app is installed on the resident's phone, the buttons will automatically appear, and they can use those buttons to control the gate. You'll see that the app is also used to invite visitors, and you can also receive your notifications through the app. Okay, so here we've got an example for someone that wants to send a visitor one-time PIN. On the left, you will see you have the option to select a contact from your cell phone, or you can manually enter the person's name and their cell phone number. You as the resident can then choose, will that PIN be valid for the whole day, or will it be limited to one entry and one exit only? At the bottom of that screen, you've got the choice. Do you want to send that message through an SMS, or do you want to send it through WhatsApp? In the middle, you will see a example of what it will look like when that PIN is sent. And you'll see that there's also directions to that specific complex that will be inside the message that gets sent. Okay, on the right, you'll see notification. So as soon as that PIN has been used, you as the tenant will receive a notification that that pin has been used and your visitor has entered the property. Okay, see someone has questions you don't see where to invite. So on the screen, you'll see that the name of the specific device is on the app, and next to it, it looks like a man standing in a circle. So that's where you send the one-time pin from. Okay, so moving on to a live demonstration. Okay, so you guys will see that currently we do have the app open here, but there's no buttons on the app. Okay, then we've also got a cell switch Infinity that we just installed. And for this specific device, we also want to use remote. So we've got an RX Micro connected to it. Okay, so once the device has been installed, it's very easy to register. You can just simply in Google search for Accentronix, and you'll see the first option is our website. And then you'll see portal login. Enter your details, log onto your profile, and then you'll see on the left, register device. Okay, so here it will ask you for device name as well as device mobile number. So all devices are provided with SIM cards, and basically device number will be SIM1. Usually a Vodacom SIM card, that's the number that you will enter here. Okay, for this, we'll just say demo cell switch. And we can just click on next step. Now it will contact that device, it will basically make a connection. As soon as it has connected, it will now ask you, what do you want to use that device for? Okay, so let's just go through all of the options here. We've got home automation. So you can use the cell switch for alarm monitoring. You can use it for standalone alarm. You can use it for irrigation systems. You can connect it to a RoboGuard. You can connect the cell switch and the cell switch nanodes to Energizers. So you'll see all your, basically all your, what's the word? Basically all the names of the Energizers you can connect it to. Okay, so if you go to advanced automation, you'll see that you can connect them to a remote pump control. You can use it to for pump water level monitoring. You can use it for temperature monitoring. So to give you an example of this, what people can do with the system is, because they connect over the cloud, say you've got two cell switches, one connected to a float in a dam, and 2 kilometers away, you've got another cell switch connected to the pump. The one cell switch can monitor as soon as the levels of the dam reach a certain point. The one cell switch can send the signal for the other cell switch to basically switch on the pump. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can use these devices for. These are just a few examples. Okay, for this demo, we're going to use normal access control. And because for this specific device, we also want to use the remotes, we can enable remotes here. Don't worry too much about this. You can later on the system also program to enable and disable this feature. Okay, now just next step. Okay, and that's it. That device is now registered. We can now just simply click on manage your new device. You will see that straight away it takes you to your access control list. For this demo, we are actually going to work on the intercom system, as you can see on the screen. So we can just go to device list. And now you will see we've already installed the intercom system, as well as there's a nano underneath connected to the tag reader. We're going to select the intercom system, and now we are on the access control list. Now, to add someone to the system, very straightforward. You can basically enter their name. their cell phone number. Okay, with our intercom system, you do have the option for a secondary number per button. This basically means that if someone presses, say, I'm allocated button number 1, it will automatically call to my cell phone. So I don't answer my cell phone and it goes over to voicemail. The system will automatically call the secondary number. So that option is there. Your secondary number, you can also add as a primary number with a different button. For this demo, we're just going to continue. So house number is just for you as a managing agent or admin of that device to keep a reference. So let's say this is unit 15. And then your actual button number is the button number that the visitor is going to dial at the intercom to call to that cell phone number. So just for this demo, let's make it 1. Okay, you'll see 2 boxes, access. So if you want to disable access for a certain number that's already been loaded on the system, you can just untick this box and they won't have access to the system anymore. Enable button number. Basically, if you want to disable that button so no one can call to that resident, you can also do that here. Okay, alerts is more for your admins of your device. So say you activate alerts every time someone opens the gate. If this person is ticked for alerts, they will receive the alerts every time someone gains access to the system. Okay, now we can just click on add. And the user has been successfully added. Okay, for this specific resident, we also want to load a remote. So it's also very easy. You can see the remote icon next to their name. And on the screen, you can just basically say quick learn remote. Take a few seconds, it will connect to that device and it will ask you, press the remote button 3 times within 20 seconds to learn that remote. And you will see the remote pops up. It will say, that's the serial number of the remote. Which button do you want to use? You can select button on the remote. Which device do you want to control? And which output of that specific device do you want to open with that button? Okay, so it's very easy to actually learn someone on the system as well as learn a remote on their name. Okay, say someone loses their remote and you want to remove it. You can simply log onto the system, go to that specific person, click on remote icon next to their name, and then remove that remote from their name. So now that remote won't work on the system anymore. Okay, so what you can do with our system that's very cool, you can bulk learn remotes as well as you can basically bulk learn remotes off-site. The way this works is, so you'll see we are currently under access control. If we go to remotes, tags, and keypads, we can simply, you'll see the first option is remote. We go to manage pre-registered remotes. Basically, a pre-registered remote will be learned on that system, but it will not be allocated to anyone, meaning that specific remote won't work yet. Still, it's learned on the system, but it won't work until it is later allocated to a specific resident. Okay, so to give you an example of this, we can just learn the remote. And you'll see remote serial number GDM that will most likely get encoded on this remote. So say you are an installer and you bulk learn 50 remotes on the system, you know that serial number goes with that remote. So later on, if you want to allocate someone a remote, you can just simply go to the access control to that specific tenants, click on the remote icon. And then you'll see on top here, there's the option link a pre-registered remote. And there you will see GDM, and you can just simply link that remote to their name. Okay, so that remote will now also work on their name. Okay, so if you make any changes on our system, for that change to take effect, you will always have to save settings. and then update device. This will basically send all the information, all the changes you just made to our database, and then it will take effect. You'll see it will now connect to that device after a few seconds, and it has updated. The device itself will reboot, so give it about 2 minutes afterwards just to basically come back online. Okay, while we wait for the device to reboot, we'll move on to restricted users. So you'll see currently we are under access control users. We can just go to restricted users. This works exactly the same way as the normal access control, where we can enter a name, a number, house is just for you to keep a reference. And here you can now select from what time to what time that specific user has access. We can also choose what day of the week they will have access. So let's say only Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday between 7 in the morning and 5 p.m. in the afternoon. So that specific number will only work between the time allocated for it. If they try to use or gain access outside of that time, you will also receive a notification if you are ticked for alerts. Okay, another cool thing you can do with the restricted access is, like we said earlier, for an example, the intercom system has 3 outputs. So say you connect output 1 to the main gate, output 2 to the pedestrian gate, and output 3 to the exit gate. You can restrict a specific user to only gain access to one of those outputs. So if you've got a gardener coming over, but you don't want them to open the gate fully, you only want them to have access to pedestrian, you can restrict them to that specific output only. Okay, you can also set an expiry date here, so that access for that user will expire on that specific date you have set. Okay, now let's quickly move back to the app. So you guys saw earlier that there was no buttons added on the app. You will now see that the buttons for that specific device, because this cell phone number was loaded on the system, will now automatically appear. So if we hold the button for a second, you will see that the gate will open. Okay, so going back to the website, we've now covered access control users as well as restricted users. But you will see next to that, there's manage welcome SMS. So like we said earlier, when a number is loaded on the system, they will automatically receive a welcome message from the system. In this welcome message, you can see what they will get. So it's basically welcome message, call MSISDN. It will basically enter this number for you automatically to open the gate, as well as a link on instructions on how to use the device. And inside the instructions, there will also be a link on where to download the app. Okay, so everyone that gets added on the system will automatically get this message. You can turn it off if you like. You can also edit that message. So if you type anything here, you'll see on the right-hand side, that's the message that they will receive. Okay, another cool thing about the system, you have communication SMSs. So to give you an example of a communication SMS, say the complex swimming pool is out of order this Saturday, you can send a message from the system to every user that swimming pool out of order this Saturday. Okay, so that's also possible with the system. Earlier, we mentioned that you can connect multiple devices over the cloud. So you can have a master device, and then you can have slave devices connected to it. You will go to link devices here, and this is where you can set that up. So currently, this intercom is set as a master device. We can, however, set as slave device. So it can then connect to another device, and they will basically share an access control list. Okay, so we've covered users for access control. Now let's quickly go to tags. Cover the tags. The tags work exactly the same way as our remotes. I'm just going to, for this demo, go to our device list. And then we've got on our demo case a tag reader connected with a nano. Works exactly the same way. Okay, we've added a resident. Now we want to learn a tag on their name. We can just go to the tag icon and quick learn tag. Well, once again, exactly the same as the remote. It will connect to that device. It will give you 20 seconds to scan that tag on the tag reader, and it will learn it in and will actually give you the serial number that is printed on the back of the tag. So say you as an installer has 50 tags, a complex has phoned you, they want 50 new tags. You can bulk learn the 50 tags and then later assign them to a specific user. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but you can bulk learn remotes as well as tags off site. So let's get an example of this. Okay, so going back to our intercom system where we have learned our remote. Like we saw earlier, if you want to bulk learn remote, you go to remotes, then manage pre-registered remotes. And then you'll see here, there's a thing called gateway. Basically how this works is, so at the start of this demo, we registered a cell switch Infinity with a RX micro receiver connected. So let's, for an example, say this cell switch was installed at our office, but the intercom system is 20 kilometers away on site. The complex gave us a call. They want 20 new remotes, and you want to learn them at the office. You can simply go to your gateway and select the device closest to you. So that's the device the remote's going to connect to, but it's going to learn it on the intercom through the one you have at the office. So demo cell switch is going to be your gateway, but it's going to learn it onto the intercom 20 kilometers away at site. And then you can just, again, basically later assign that specific remote to a resident when you are on site. Okay, this works exactly the same way for the tag system. Very easy to do, very easy to use. Okay, guys, so we've covered the remotes as well as the tags. So when you go to access control, remote tags and keypads, next thing we will cover is keypads and one-time pins. As soon as you click on keypads, you'll see that there's a few options here. First option is enable global access code. So this is a global code that anyone can use. If they know that code, they can use it. And you as the admin of that device can also change that code. You'll then see next to it, you have the option to choose what output it will trigger when you use this directly on the intercom. So you'll see it set up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we go back to our demo, we'll see if we type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the gate will open. This can then also be used on a wireless keypad that we have learned on the intercom through the ET receiver that's already built in. And you'll see the gate open. Okay, so that's basically your global code. This can be changed on the fly, so someone can just log on and they can change that code, update the device, and the new code will do exactly the same. Your next option is enable reverse access code. This is a feature where every person on the access control list can use the last 4 digits of their cell phone number in reverse to gain access. So every time a tenant uses that specific code, it will then log their name as well as timestamp when the code was used to gain entry. Okay. Then the next option is allow residents to invite visitors by sending a one-time PIN. We've seen this, we've seen an example of this. This can be disabled, however. or you can only allow them to create single digit pins that they can send. Okay, underneath that, you've got your exit OTP after each intercom call. If you do not want it, this is also where you can disable that one-time pin functionality. Okay, underneath that, you'll just see your list of your wireless keypads connected. Looks almost very similar to the remotes that get learned on the system. Okay, so you'll see that this specific wireless keypad that we have learned on the system, it is set to control output 1. This is where you can also change where they will basically, what output they will trigger off that specific device. Okay, so that's basically the one-time pin functionality. And on the website, this is where you will change those settings. Moving on to gate timers. On the gate timers, you all will see there are two options, morning timers and afternoon timers. A lot of people get confused with this, but there is a special reason for this. Let me give you an example. Say you have a device installed at a school. In the morning, 7 o'clock, you want the gate to automatically open. And then 8:30 in the morning, you want it to automatically close again. Now, you want a second timer for the same day. So in the afternoon, you will set 12 o'clock. That gate will again automatically open. And then 2 o'clock, it will automatically close again. Say you want your devices installed at the business park and you want to set it from the morning till the afternoon, you can just basically disable this and put both times in the morning. So now your gate will open 7 o'clock in the morning and it will automatically close 5:30 in the afternoon. Okay. Another cool thing you can do is you can load public holidays. So the system will recognize all South African public holidays and it will automatically pull it into the system and the gate will not open on those specific days. You can also manually select these days. So say those 3 days, we do not want the gate to automatically open. And it won't. Okay, so that's gate timers, very easy to use. Okay, so we've covered access control on the left here. Now we're moving to configuration and then general setup. Under general setup, you'll just see some basic info about that device. For example, this is where you will change the name of the device if you'd like, as well as you'll see the map here with the pin of that specific device. So you've got a few options here. You can enter the physical address of that device, or you can manually move the pin on that device. Okay, very cool thing that you, with our devices, say you have multiple cell switch infinities connected to Energizers, and you've got a control room. What you can actually do is you can use this pin. You'll see that currently it's green, but as soon as this device goes offline or your Energizer gets triggered, this pin will actually turn red. So you've got a control room, you can open this map, you can see all your devices, and if you see one of them is red, then you know, okay, there's something wrong with that specific device. Okay, so a very cool feature. Then on the intercom, you'll see next to device info, you've got audio settings. Your basic audio settings can be changed here. First option, you'll see max call duration. This can be edited. So as soon as a visitor has punched in the first number, this countdown will begin. After 65 seconds, it will automatically cut that call. Then you've also got the option to adjust the speaker volume as well as the microphone volume. And then you've also got a few custom features with the device. So by default, if a tenant that's loaded on the access controllers calls the SIM1 number of the device, the gate will open. If, however, you enable guardhouse feature and someone calls to the intercom, it will ring like a normal cell phone, whereas the guard can then answer it, and he can then also return calls to the tenants from the intercom system. Okay. Then we've got also the feature for enable automatic PABX selection. The way this works is, say you've got one of these installed at a business park where the first button you press is 1, it will call to the business and they have the option, press 1 to go to admin, press 2 to go to sales. You can enable automatic PABX selection, whereas if you press, for an example, 1 on the intercom system, it will always automatically go to sales, or it will always automatically go to technical or whatever. Okay. With this system, you can also say you press 1, it phones to that business, it asks you over the intercom, press 1 for sales, press 2 for admin. You can manually press 1 to go to sales, 2 for admin. So that's also a possibility. Okay, under general setup, you'll see notifications. So all notification settings with these devices, they can be adjusted here. Okay, so you'll see purchase SMS credits. Send an email notification when SMS credits drop below a certain point. You'll see on top here, currently this device has 93 SMS credits. When a tenant has the app on their cell phone and they receive a notification, basically it will be for free. But say a tenant or someone that uses it to monitor Energizer does not have the app on their cell phone, all notifications will be sent by SMS. So you'll see that you have 54 free SMSs a month. But say you use those 60, it will then go over to SMS credits. And this is just a notification to let you know, okay, my SMS credits on that specific device has dropped below a certain point. Okay, and then you can just here enable access control notifications. So if you want a notification each time someone gains access to a system, this is where you can enable it. You can also disable alerts altogether on a specific device. You can have an alert when the battery of that device drops below a certain point. And then if the device is connected, say Energizer, or you use that device for alarm monitoring, there is the option where the device will actually not send you an SMS, but it will phone to your cell phone. Okay, so if you check on top here, you can go to email report settings. And then here you as the admin have the choice you want to receive daily, weekly, monthly reports. So that will just basically send you all the logs of that specific device on the setting you choose. You can then enter 2 email addresses where that logs will be sent. And then because this is an intercom system, you have the option to send an email when airtime drops below a certain point. So currently it's set, if the airtime drops below 30 Rand on that SIM card, it will automatically send you a notification saying you need to top up that SIM card. Then it's also, you've got the option to enable when the device is offline for more than a certain amount of time. It will also notify you that that device is offline. Okay, moving on. Underneath notifications, you'll see input and output options. This is more for your installers. But basically here you can edit what message you will receive when your input gets triggered. So currently it's set to input 1, gate still opened if it gets a high, and then gate still closed after if it goes back to low. Underneath here, you'll see input 1 trigger delay. So to give you an example of what can be done is if you connect input 1 of your device to a gate motor, as soon as the gate opens, it will not send you a notification, but there's a trigger delay of 30 seconds. So say after 30 seconds, if your gate's still open, it will only then send you the message that you select here. And this is exactly the same on output, on input 2. Okay, next to input options, you've got output options. Okay, by default, when you call someone of a device, output 1 will switch on for 1 second. So your installers will know this will pulse for 1 second, opening the gate. This, however, can be changed. So this is where you will change it. You can toggle it. So you can basically latch. So anytime someone calls the device, the gate will, for example, stay open. It will latch and stay open till you call it again. Okay, then also by default, if someone calls SIM card 2, it will control output 2, meaning that you can basically have 2 gates connected to the same device. If someone calls SIM 1, the first gate will open. Someone calls SIM 2, the second gate will open. You can, however, use both SIM cards, say the second SIM card for backup for output 1, or you can select it to control output 3. Then you've just got the same option for output 2 and 3, where you can choose, is it going to pulse or is it going to latch? Like we mentioned earlier under notifications, if you have enable access control notifications ticked, you will see on output options, this is just a message that you will receive when you activate the device. So if output 1 pulses, this is the message that you will receive, entrance gate controlled. If you latch that specific output, this is the message you will receive, entrance gate open, and this can be edited. So you can receive whatever message you like. Okay, guys, so that's basically input and output options. Moving on to the next section, you'll see that, which is very cool with our devices, you can actually connect them to Google Home. So say you've got a Cell Switch Infinity or a Cell Switch Nano installed in your garage at home. You are around the corner, you can link it to Google Home, where you tell your cell phone, hey Google, open my garage door. It will ask you for your PIN. You will enter your PIN by saying, say 1, 2, 3, 4, and your garage door will then open. So very cool feature that you can do with our system. Okay, like we saw earlier, when someone's number is added on the system, it will automatically populate the app with buttons. So under configuration, you'll see app buttons, and this is where you can basically edit those buttons. Now, very important, if you look on the right-hand side, you'll see a column which says on command, off command, pulse command. This side, you'll see output 1, output 2, and output 3. So if you want, for instance, to pulse output 1, you'll see that the current command is control. For output 2, it's set to control 2. And for output 3, it's set to control 3. Now, moving over to the left-hand side, we'll see that we currently have 2 buttons, main gate and exit gate. And then you'll see that the command for main gate's control. So now we know that to pulse output 1, control is the command. So if someone presses this button on the app, it will pulse output 1. This can be edited, so you can change the command to whichever you like. So for example, let's say that the main gate button should not only just pulse it, but we want the gate to stay open. We can look on the right hand and we'll see that output 1 on command is open. So if we change that command to open, someone presses that button, it will now actually latch the device and not only pulse it. So very easy to understand and set up more app buttons. And just to clarify, when an admin of the device changes these buttons, it will appear for everyone on the access controllers. Okay, just going over the device logs on the left here, you'll see all your logs on top. So to give you an example, your button press log is basically every time someone presses a button on the Intercom system, this is where it will get logged. So for an example, you'll see the name of the resident, their mobile phone number, the button that was pressed, did they open the gate, and how long was that call, as well as your timestamp, obviously. So if you go to access control, exactly the same thing, but you'll see a few differences. It will tell you how did that specific person gain access. So you can see this person used the remote and they opened output 1 of that specific device. Then you'll see there's a few empty spaces here. That's because someone used the global access code. So this is where you basically can keep track of anyone that gains access to the system itself. Then we've got device status log, more for your installers and more for us to do some troubleshooting, but it's basically the name of your device, SIM1 number, airtime balance, signal strength, as well as firmware version and timestamps. Then we've got the device IO log, also more for your installer. So literally everything that happens with this specific device is logged here. So for an example, you'll see that the keypad here, you'll see the exact timestamp, keypad button 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 was pressed, and then did the gate open. So literally anything that happens with the device is listed here, and this is more for your installer or for us to do some troubleshooting if something goes wrong. Okay. Now, a lot of times when an installer installs a device, they register it on their own profile. So to carry over or to share a device with another admin, you'll see the share device option at the bottom left here. Okay, so currently you'll see the username that's connected with that device, and they are set as the owner. So if I want another admin on that system, I can just enter their email address, and then you'll see that it asks you for a role. So whoever registers a device on their profile will automatically be set to the owner. An owner can add more admin users. But if you add an admin user, you'll see that they will now have admin access. Admins can change all settings on the devices, but they can't add more admin people. You also do have the option to select access control management only. So this is basically when someone they have access to that device, but they can only add and remove numbers from the access controllers. They can't change any other settings on that device. So this is just to prevent someone from actually fiddling and changing settings on a device that might make it stop working. So this is also an option. You can change ownership, however. So say you as the installer want to carry that over to your client, you can select them as owner and yourself as admin, and then just save settings. Now they are the owner and they can add more admins, they can remove you if they like, and all those kinds of stuff. Okay. So basically, that's all the programmable settings on the device. You'll see that top left, you have a global dashboard. And this is just basically a summary of all devices on your specific profile. So you'll see that currently on this profile, the 3 online devices, 0 offline devices, total devices, and then you'll see the map of all your devices. Okay, just going back to the slide, we'll now cover the annual subscription of these devices. So all these devices are provided with SIM cards already recode. Very important to note is that all SIM cards provided has a date of activation. The SIM card will be then active for 1 year after this date. If that SIM card, however, does get registered on the portal within one year, it will expire. If it does not get registered within 1 year, sorry. So if it does not get registered within 1 year, that SIM card will expire. The subscription is free for the first year on all devices. And looking at the Cell Switch Infinity, the yearly subscription is 365 Rand, excluding VAT. And we load the airtime for you on those SIM cards. I'm just going to repeat that with the Cell Switch Infinity. The yearly subscription is 365, excluding VAT. but we load the airtime for you on that unit. With the CellSwitch Nano, because it has less than 10 users, the subscription is 99 Rand a year, excluding that. And we also load the airtime for you on those SIM cards. If, however, that CellSwitch Nano is connected to an Energizer, it will still be 365, excluding that a year. So just recapping, CellSwitch Nano, less than 10 users, the subscription is 99 Rand a year, and we load the airtime for you on those SIM cards. However, if it is connected to an Energizer, it's also 365, excluding that a year. Okay, our Intercom systems. With the Intercom Complex, the Intercom Index, and the Intercom Mini, the subscription is 365, excluding that a year, but they will still need to load their own airtime for the outgoing calls from that Intercom system. So, Intercom Complex, Intercom Index, and Intercom Mini. The subscription is 365, excluding that a year, and they will still need to load their own airtime on those SIM cards for the outgoing calls from the Intercom. Okay, with the Intercom 2 button, however, when it is used for residential purposes and it has less than 10 people on the access control list, there's no subscription fee, but they will still need to load their own airtime for the outgoing calls from the Intercom system. So Intercom 2 button, less than 10 people on the system, no subscription fee, but they will still need to load their own airtime. If it gets used, say, at an office park, more than 10 people, then it's the usual 365, excluding that, and they still need to load their own airtime. Okay, like we just saw on the global dashboard, there's a list of all your devices. And you'll actually see what you can see is that the subscription on all these devices are okay, but there's 2 expiring soon, and there's 1 that already expired. And then you can actually select these 3 devices and you can pay them directly through the website using Pay Fast. So you just select those 3 devices and click on Pay Now, and through Pay Fast, you can pay that subscription. Okay. Okay, guys, that's it for the subscription. Like we mentioned earlier, with our system, you can actually connect the CellSwitch Infinity as well as your CellSwitch Nano to Energizers. And they basically act as the keypad for that Energizer, where you can program it using codes. And this can be done from the app. With it, you can arm and disarm using the app or by giving a call. You can get notifications as well as alarms through your app as well. And they connect to all the popular brands. Okay, that's it for the presentation. Hopefully you all have learned something new and you now have a better understanding of what the system can do. Because there are so many people in this meeting, we are not going to activate the mics for questions, but you guys are more than welcome to ask questions in the chat. So we're still going to stay on for a few minutes, say 20 minutes, where you can just ask a question and then we can answer it. Okay. What we are also going to do is afterwards, we are going to post our WhatsApp helpline number as well as our office number in chat. So if you have any technical queries, you can give us a call. And then also this session was recorded. So if you guys would like that recording, you can just send an email to support@accentronix.co.za. As well as if you would like a certificate for this training, we can also just send us an email to support@Accentronix, and we can just email. Just make sure that in that email you enter your name as well as say the company that you work for, so that we can put the right information on that certificate for you. So yeah, guys, thank you all for joining. Yeah, do you guys have any questions? You can ask in chat and we can just go over them again. If there's something you don't quite understand, we can also just hop back to it. So what we're also planning on doing is that we are planning on holding training sessions like this each Friday. And then basically each Friday we'll cover a different topic. Say there's a lot of requests for people who want to go more into detail about access control and how the list works and all those kind of settings, we can do that. If there's more request for, say, Cell Switch Infinity is connected to Energizers, we can also cover that. So you guys can just always send us an email, explain exactly what you want, and we'll see what's the most in demand for training. Just reading a question, device locks, one of my devices shows network error on Vodacom. Yeah, so that could be that maybe Vodacom in that area is down. However, like we said earlier, your device has 2 SIM cards. So if the one SIM card is down, it will automatically go over to the second SIM card. If it is a intercom system, it won't make calls with the second SIM card, but it will connect. It will have a data connection with the second SIM card, meaning you can still use the app. You can just still phone the second SIM card to gain access. It's just a call that will not hop over. What you can also do is you can just send us on our WhatsApp helpline the number for that specific device, then we can also just have a look for you what's going on there. Does the GSM Intercom 1000 have 2 SIM cards? Okay, no. So the GSM 1000 is one of the older models, so it will only have a single SIM. It will also not have the integrated ET receiver, so you won't be able to connect your remotes. But what you guys can do, however, is when you send the intercom to us, we can actually do an upgrade where we will use the same intercom system, but all the electronics and stuff inside gets replaced with the newer models. So that one will have 2 SIM cards, then built-in receiver, and you can then use your remotes directly on the intercom system. Okay, so I do see, how do we go about getting your intercom? So we don't sell directly to the public, but what you can do is on our website, you'll see on the top right, there's contact us. It will open a world map with the X's on it. You can just basically click on the X nearest to you. And that will get you in touch with one of our distributors, and they should be able to assist. Is there an easy way to reset a cell switch device after load shedding? Yeah, so basically what happens is cell switch, when connected to, say, a backup battery, it will work for, say, about 15 minutes into load shedding, and then when the nearby towers will most likely go down and it will lose connectivity. But if you have remotes connected to your system, it works through the Accentronix micro receiver. You will still be able to use your remotes on the system. When load shedding is then over again, say after 15 minutes, the towers go back up, it should automatically reconnect. But there's always the option to send to the cell phone number of the Cell Switch Infinity 1234.reset, a normal SMS, or you can do it through the app, and that device will then reset. What can be done when a cell switch gives mailbox full message and the gate's not opening? Usually when this happens, it means it's not online at that moment. So usually with the normal prepaid SIM card as well, if someone calls you and your phone's not on, it will ask you to leave a mailbox. So it's basically just people calling to that device, not ending the call, and they still continue to speak, so the mailbox will get full. But if it says mailbox full, it's most likely not on at that moment. What you can do is send a WhatsApp to our WhatsApp helpline, and we can just have a look at that device for you. How much is the Infinity and Nano cell switch? You can contact one of our distributors. They should be able to assist with pricing as well. Okay, that last question, Infinity and the Nano. So basically it will be, it depends on the site you want to install it. So a cell switch Infinity will be better if the signal in that area is low, because it does come with an external antenna. Whereas the cell switch Nano has an integrated antenna. So if that area has low signal, I'll say go with the cell switch Infinity. Anyone have any more questions? Okay, guys, then I think we are going to end it here. Thank you everyone for joining. If you guys would like a recording or certificate, please don't hesitate to email us and then we can send it to you guys. Yeah, if you have any other questions you can't think of right now, send us a WhatsApp or give us a call and then yeah, we can help you. Thanks, guys. Hope you guys have a lovely weekend.